Hello! Welcome to the channel. This video is about direct speech and reported speech. Let's get started. This is a new chapter. We are going to take a look how many areas we're going to cover in this chapter. Let's take a look. The first one, the way of writing direct speech and reported speech. The first one is going to be the introductions, okay? And then what's next? Using direct speech in writing, okay? And the next one, some useful verbs for direct speech, okay? And what's next? How to change a sentence from direct speech to reported speech. Very nice. There are many ways to speak in English. Sometimes when we are telling something and some other people try to tell the other one what we have just said. And that is the time we use reported speech. And the way we speak to the others is direct speech. Let's take a look into some more details about what is direct speech. Let's take a look. The introduction. When people speak or when he writes the exact words someone says, it is called direct speech. Example, I'm going out with Jim tomorrow night. This is direct speech. Alright then, in writing, people use quotation marks to code a direct speech, and they need to follow some special punctuation rules, like I shouted, and then you use quotation mark in order to let the reader know this is something you speak or someone else speaks, okay? You are crazy. He's the ugliest guy in the school. So this is direct speech. And we have a sample essay. The sample essay is having a dialogue like this. A, I'm going out with James tomorrow night. We are going to watch a film in the cinema. And B say, James? You are crazy. He's the ugliest guy in the school. Why do you want to see him? I think he's quite cute actually. And he's really sweet and funny. Looks on everything, you know. Are you serious? What could be more important than looking good? So, you will see this is the background information about this essay. And by the end, A tell his friend something what B just said to her. Let's take a look at this essay. An email from A. A while later, A, Lucy, wrote an email to her friend Mary and told her about her conversation with B, Cindy. Hi Mary, guess what? Okay, I met Cindy the other week. Now, here is that she told me that she was going out. This is an other kinds of reported speech. She said they were going to. Okay, this is another way. I shouted, you are crazy. He's the ugliest guy in the school. So this one is the direct speech. Okay, I asked her why she wanted to see him. So it's another reported speech. She said that she thought he was quite cute and he was really sweet and funny. She said that she thought. Another one, looks on everything. A direct speech, you have to use a quotation mark. And are you serious? What could be more important than looking good? The quotation mark have tell the reader about these sentences and these questions are actually a direct speech. Last video, we introduced direct speech and reported speech. And this time, we further elaborate direct speech, how to use it in your writing. Let's take a look. Using direct speech in writing. What is the purpose of using direct speech? Direct speech gives the exact wordings that people use to say something. Example, if I say we are going to watch a film in the cinema, then if I want to code these wordings, what should we do? When we write direct speech in a text and dialogues, conversations for simple, in narratives writing, for example, we need to use quotation mark. This is a single quotation marks. Punctuations like question mark, exclamation mark, full stop, or even comma are very important when we are using direct speech. Let's take a look. Exclamation mark, an exclamation mark, an exclamation mark for exclamation, obviously. Example, I shouted. You have to have a comma before you use this color red. And you are crazy, comma, and then start the open quotation mark and close quotation mark, and the exclamation mark putting before the close quotation mark. And then what about question mark? Question marks for question. I ask her. Okay, so ask. Also color red. Are you serious? Now, remind you guys, one thing is, these direct speech starting with a capital letter, even as a question, is still having a capital letter as well. And the question marks we're putting in front of the closing quotation mark. Then what about a comma? What time should we use a comma in a direct speech? Let's take a look. A comma is for a statement. For example, looks aren't everything, you know. This direct speech actually has been finished. It's a complete sentence. However, we will not put a full stop right here. Instead, we will use a comma. So open quotation mark, and the comma will be putting in front of the closing quotation mark. And she told me, full stop. Then what time should we use a full stop? Let's take a look. A full stop only at the very end of a sentence. We mean the finish of the direct speech. For example, she told me, comma, and the direct speech's looks aren't everything. You see, we're putting this sentence at the end of the sentence, and by the end we have a full stop. But again, the punctuation full stop should putting in front of and closing quotation mark. And the next thing we have to care about is the verb positions. In a direct speech, the verb position could be very confusing, and that is a little things that we have to care about. Let's take a look. What are they? We usually put the verb before or after the direct speech. If we put the verb before the direct speech, we need to put a comma after it. For example, if the direct speech is putting at the end of the whole sentence, so a comma will be putting after the verb. Said, like this. Okay, and then open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and the full stop is putting at the end, because the whole sentence has finished. However, if the direct speech is actually split up into two parts and the verb is putting in the middle, so how to arrange it? Example, please don't do that. Okay, the word please, open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and a comma. And then Martin said, again, comma. Alright, then we start with the second part of the direct speech. Open quotation mark, close quotation mark, don't do that, and then full stop. So you can see the arrangement of the direct speech that splitting up into two parts will be a little bit technical. However, if you follow the rules, it will be fine. And the same part, if we put the direct speech at the end of the sentence, it will be looking like this. Okay, so either way, either you putting the direct speech at the beginning, or you put the direct speech at the end, or even you split it up into two parts, the arrangement will be different. Other than the word told, tell, say, and said, there are some other verbs that we could use to provide information about the meaning of the speakers. Let's take a look. What words are they? Usual verbs for direct speech. We use the verbs say or tell to introduce direct speech, but some other verb could function similarly, but they could provide more information about how and why. So all these are listed here. there are some areas that we have to be cautioned, and there's some hints that you can use when you are writing direct speech. Let's take a look. Hints and cautions. When people are using direct speech in their writing, there's something that we have to be aware of. Now, American English hints number 1, double quotation marks will be used instead of single quotation marks. And also, in this example, many exercises we have used will be using in present tense on purpose. It's also very common when we are reading newspaper articles too, but for narrative writing, that isn't that so common. And different verbs have different meanings. You have to make sure checking the dictionary for the meaning and use it accurately, because using a verb incorrectly could mean something very different to the readers. Today, we're gonna talk about how to change a statement from direct speech to indirect speech or reported speech. Let's take a look how many areas we gonna cover. From direct speech to reported speech. In order to understand how many areas we have to cover, we have to understand when we are writing direct speech in different ways. First, statements, and the other one, questions. As well as command. Okay, so what actually reported speech or indirect speech cared about, and why do we have to arrange a sentence from a direct speech to a reported speech? Let's take a look. When we talk about what someone else has said, we use reported speech. Example: A, I'm going shopping today. And B, reported what A just said to another one. C, Lucy said that she was going shopping that day. Indirect speech or reported speech focuses more on the content of what someone said rather than their exact wordings. In indirect speech or reported speech, the structure of the reported clauses depends on whether the speaker is reporting a statement or reporting a question or reporting a command. Okay, the first one, statements. How can one arrange a statement from direct speech to indirect speech or reported speech? Let's take a look. What is statement? I'm tired, I said. I told them that I was tired. You report a direct statement into a reported speech. Now, statements reporting consists of a reporting clause and a that clause. We often omit the word that. The word that will be disappeared, especially in informal situations. Example: the captain commented that the weather had been extremely bad. The captain's words were, the weather was extremely bad. And the other one, I told my friend I didn't want a party on my birthday. Or you can say, I told my friend that I didn't want a party on my birthday. With or without that, the meaning will be the same. But usually in informal situations, we will omit the that. Then how about questions? There are two types of question. One, yes or no question. And the other type of question starting with a question word what or WH. Let's take a look how to arrange them from direct speech to reported speech. Question, direct speech. Are you ready? The nurse asked Joe. And then reported speech will be, the nurse asked Joe if or whether he was ready. Now, reported speech of yes or no question or question consists of reporting clause. Usually they were introduced by if or whether. Of course, if is more common than whether. And remember, the question will be revised in a way rather than starting with a verb. They will use a subject plus a verb, but not a question form. Example, she asked, and then introduced by if, and then as. The subject will be starting first. I was Chinese. Original yes or no question, are you Chinese? Another one, the sales, ask, okay, introduced by whether, starting with subject we, and then followed with wanted. Wanted the bag near the window? Do you want the bag near the window? The third one, example 3, he asked me, introduced by if, starting with subject I, and followed with the color red had come by taxi or by bus. The original question will be, did you come by taxi or by bus? Now, we remind you guys, even it's a question, reported speech, whether it is a WH question or yes or no question, we all end the sentence with a full stop. Example, he asked Mary what she wanted. So subject she and the verb wanted. By the end, we have a full stop. Full stop instead of a question mark. They all end with full stop. The reported clause in statements form subject plus a verb is the same as the yes or no question. So, she wanted to know. This time introduced by who? Know who? We, the subject as, had invited to the party. Who we had invited to the party. Then how about the last one? Command. How to arrange a command from a direct speech to a reported speech? Let's take a look. Command, direct speech. Leave at once, they ordered. I told them, first of all, that I was tired. Reported speech of commands consists of reporting calls beginning with a to infinitive. The general ordered the army to attack. To attack function as a color yellow, telling you more about the army. Attacked. Okay, original command. The chairperson told him to sit down and to stop singing. So who to sit down and who to stop singing? Sit down and stop singing. This is the original command. And people use a to infinitive clause in reported speech with other verbs that mean wanting or getting people to do something. Example, advise, encourage, and want. Example, my teacher advised Susan to wait till the following day. You should wait till the following day. Okay, advise. Who waits, Susan? To wait till the following day. It's a yellow, and you can't jump this yellow actually. So the other one, the bodyguard, warned the former prime minister not to enter the area. So you must not enter the area. Not enter the area, telling you more about the former prime minister. So it's a color yellow. Today, we talk about how to change from a direct speech to a reported speech or indirect speech. The first thing we have to care about is tenses. Let's take a look. Tenses, there are several areas we will cover. First, using present simple tenses in the clauses and also the reporting verbs, as well as newspaper headlines when the reporting verbs is using past continuous, and also the concept of back shift. Very nice. What time we will use simple present in the reporting verbs and the clauses. Let's take a look into details. First things, using simple present tense in reporting verbs and the clauses. People can use the reporting verbs in reported speech if the original verbs are still true or relevant at the time of reporting. So, when the reporting time, that statement is still valid or is still true, we could choose to use simple present. Then, what's next? And also, if the report is of something or someone often says or repeat, then we could use simple present. For example, Sheila said they are closing the motorway tomorrow for repairs. Henry tells me he's thinking of getting married next year. So, says, the reporting verb, tells, will use simple present, and also ribbit, says, and dog shouldn't be allowed, okay, on the beach. Newspaper headline will also use simple present when they are creating a more dramatic event. Let's take a look. People often use the simple present for the reporting verbs and clauses in newspaper headlines. It makes the reporter's speech more dramatic. For example, judge tells reporter to leave courtroom. Prime Minister says families are top priority in tax reform. Also, that is some situation we could use past continuous tense in the reporting verb. What is it? In indirect speech or reported speech, people use past continuous form of the reporting verb to focus on the content of the report. And it is interesting news or important information, it will also choose to use past continuous tense for the reporting verb. Or it is because a new topic in the conversations. For example, Rory was telling me the big cinema in James Street is going to close down. Is that true? Alex was saying that book sales have gone up a lot this year thanks to the internet. And other very important concept is backshift. What is backshift? Which part of the reported speech we should use backshift? Let's take a look. Now, backshift refers to the changes we made to the original verbs in the indirect speech or reported speech because time has passed. Time has passed, so that's the reason we have to change the tense. Now, example, simple present to past tense. So, I'm fine become he was fine. Present continuous to past continuous, we are going home, become they were going home. Okay, and also present perfect becomes past perfect. He has gone, he had gone. Present perfect continuous, I've been working, become past perfect continuous. She had been working. Simple past become past perfect simple. What happened to make her so angry? What had happened to make her so angry? Past continuous to become past perfect continuous. He was swimming at 8 yesterday. Become he had been swimming at 8 yesterday. Okay, and also future tense. Jane will be late. Become future in the past. Jane would be late. And also, past perfect will remain unchanged. Had the girl already left? He asked if the girls had already left. Today, we continue the concept backshifting. And what is backshifting? And how to apply backshifting in module verbs. Let's take a look at the areas we're gonna cover. Module verbs. Some module verbs, but not all module verbs, shift back in time and change in indirect speech or reported speech. Today we're gonna cover a lot of module verbs as well as some other module verbs that we are not usually needed. And also another concept that we can use a perfect form after the module verbs as well as the other two module verbs used to and ought to. Very nice. First of all, we are talking about the module verb that we use in the reporting clause. And how do we show it? Let's take a look at the following examples. From the direct speech, will, we will be there. We will change the will to become would. He promised they would be there. And about the shall, she said, I shall need more money. Shall I open it? There will be a two situation about the word shall. The module verb shall will become would, but in the reported question shall will become should. She said she would need more money. And if it's a question, she asked if she should open it. Then how about can? I can see you at 2:30, he added. So it will become he added that. He could see me at 2:30. Can becomes could. And how about may? There are two situations of the module verb may. One is talking about possibility and the other one is talking about permission. Possibility, I may be back later. The chance of coming back later. She said she might be back later. So it's talking about possibility. And if it is involving permission, you may wait in the hallway, he said. So he said we could wait in the hallway, and may, if it is involving permission, will become could. And then how about must? There are also two different situations. One is about obligation, when the other one is guessing. If we are talking about obligation, you must pay by 30th April. She said we had to pay. Must will become had to. If you use the modal verb must for guessing situation, so she said it must be awful. Must does not change. Then how about some other modal verbs that already be in the past form? Let's take a look. What do we do? For the modal verb could, should, would, might, and need, they all remain unchanged. We won't change it. We could sell it. He said they could sell it. You should go there. She said that I should go there. I would buy it if I had the money. He said that he would buy it. It might snow tonight. He won that. It might snow that night. And one thing, tonight become that night. You need not come till 6 o'clock. He said we needn't come till 6 o'clock. If somebody reported a hypothetical situation in the past, we could arrange some other things for the modal verbs like this. We have to add a perfect form with have and a past participle after modal verbs, especially when we are reporting a hypothetical event in the past. For example, he said the noise might have been the postman delivering letters. Original statement, the noise might be the postman delivering the letters. And also, he said he would have helped us if we need a volunteer. I will help you if you need a volunteer, the original statement. Or I'll help you if you need a volunteer. And how about the other modal verb used to and ought to? Let's take a look. Used to and ought to do not change in reported speech. She said she used to live in Oxford. The God warned us that we ought to leave immediately. Today, we still go ahead to take a look what change should we make when we are changing from a direct speech to reported speech. And there are two areas gonna cover. Let's take a look. The first area is the pronouns. When the reported speech is used, the pronouns inside the direct speech should be changed. Let's take a look what the other one. Also, the adverb part and demonstratives part, time or places. So let's take a look at the pronouns. What change should we make? Changes to some personal pronouns or possessive adjectives or possessive pronouns in indirect reports or in reported speech, depending on whether the person does the report or actually you are referring to some other people's saying. For example, if there's different speakers, like I don't want to shock people, Tom said. And now, someone else report what Tom said. So that's the reason we say different speakers. Okay, A talk to B, and now C talk about what just A said. We change from I to he because you're reporting what Tom said. For girls, of course, you change to she. The other one, I look after Toby, I said. So now I repeated what I just said. So same speaker, then no change. The sentence will be, I will look after Toby, I said. I said that, or I said I would look after Toby. Again, you need to be here at 9 o'clock, George told Mary. Now, someone repeat what George told Mary. So it will be George told Mary that, or George told Mary she needed to be there at 9 o'clock. Different speaker, you have to change. And the other one, I hope you will join us tonight, I said to James. Now, I will repeat what I just said. I told James, I hope he would join us that night. So, same speaker. No need to change to I. And you change to he. The word you, speaker, change to he. For she, of course, we change to she. So, you can see, if the speaker will be the same, like I refer to myself, there will be no change. Or other speakers I refer to, or someone else refer to other people saying, they have to make a change. So pretty straightforward and have to bear in mind, except I am refer what I just said. Otherwise, they all need to have a change. Alright then, we take a look at the adverb part. Time, places. Time and places provide information to the color red, so that's why it's a color green, adverbs. We often change demonstratives, this or that, and also adverbs of time or places, now, here, today, etc. Depending on when and where the reporting takes place, and also when and where the original words were spoken. It is because indirect speech happened at a later time than the original speech, and perhaps in a different place. So you can tell because adverb is providing information at that particular point of time. When we report what other people say, the time as well as the place will be different. So that's why it's necessary for us to change the particular time, the wording of that, as well as the place of that. Now, let's take a look into details. Direct speech. I said, I will meet you here tomorrow. Change to, I would meet you there the next day. Tomorrow, next day. To said, I do not wish to discuss it at this moment in time. When you are talking about that, it is this moment. But when we are reporting what someone just said, it will be that moment. He said, I want it now. At that moment is now. But when we reported what he just said, it will be at that moment. Finished the job 3 weeks ago. At the moment we speak is 3 weeks ago. And when we reported, it will be 3 weeks before. There is a table help us to illustrate more clear about the change that we need to make. Let's take a look at this table. Typical changes to demonstratives, adverbs, and adverbial expressions. Direct speech to indirect speech. These will become that. These will become those. Now will become then. Yesterday, the day before. Tomorrow, the next following day. 2 weeks ago become 2 weeks before. Here become there. Today, we continue to talk about some hints that related to changing from direct speech to reported speech or indirect speech, and some other things that we have to care about. Let's take a look. What areas should we cover? Hints. When you're changing from direct speech to reported speech or indirect speech, what areas should we care about? And also some reporting verbs when we are using it in reported speech. And also when we are having a reporting questions or request or even orders, what should we do? And there is some extra hints afterwards. So, what situation we have to care about when we are changing direct speech to indirect speech or reported speech? Sometimes we don't have to change the verbs from direct speech to reported speech. What situation could we do that? Let's take a look. We don't need to change the tense in indirect speech or reported speech. If a person said, is still true or relevant or has not happened yet. Sometimes people talk about future when someone uses a simple present, simple continuous, or perfect tense in their original words. Example, he told me his brother works for an Italian company. It's still true. She said she's getting married. The time at the moment of speaking is this year. It hasn't happened yet. He said he has finished painting the door. Probably he just said it a short time ago. She promised she will help us. The promise applies to the future. Hong Kong summers are too hot. It's still valid. She told me she lives in New York now. It's still true. She said that she is coming to Hong Kong tomorrow. It's a situation in the future. Very nice. Then the next areas we're gonna cover is reporting verbs. There are a lot of different reporting verbs, and every different of them will have a different structure to use. Let's take a look how many situations we gonna cover. Reporting verbs are verbs that you used to report what someone said. For example, the word say, tell, and explain, but there are tons more others. Usually, we use a reporting verbs plus a that clause to report the speech. They said that they were very tired the day after the party. Now, there are some other patterns we could use in reporting speech. Let's take a look. Number 1. These words advise, encourage, invite, order, remind, and warn. You have to have an object plus a to infinitive. Number 2. Agree, decide, offer, promise, refuse, threaten. You simply add a to infinitive, and the to infinitive function as a blue. Number 3. The word accused, blame, congratulate, you have to have an object. Okay, plus a preposition of face function as a color green. And number 4. Deny, recommend, suggest, simply plus a gerund. And number 5. Apologize, admit, insist. They plus a preposition of face function as a green. Number 6. Informed, promise, remind, tell, plus a me, an object, and a that clause that they could or they would finish it. There are some more hints that we have to care about when we are using these reporting verbs. What are they? Let's take a look. The following verbs used with the word that, the that clause. Okay, add, answer, cry, explain, reply, say, and shout. How about when we are reporting questions, requests, or orders? How to arrange it? Let's take a look. Reporting questions are very similar to reporting a statement. We simply have, for example, for yes or no questions, we simply use if and whether to initiate the report. Example, Mary asked if or whether I was going to the party. Or I asked her if she liked parties. For question words starting with W, we simply repeated the question word. Billy asked when the party was. There are some more hints when we are reporting a request or an order. How to arrange it? Let's take a look. We don't repeat auxiliary verb do when we report a question. I asked if she liked parties, but omit the word does. When we are reporting request, it's the same way we report yes or no question by using if or whether to initiate the reported speech. She asked if he could lend her the book. To report orders, we will use the structure a verb plus an object plus a to infinitive. So, he told me to go. And this time, the to infinitive is functioned as a yellow, telling you me. He told me, okay, what actually me to go? To go to the bank. However, to report a negative order, we put not before the to infinitive. So, our swimming instructor ordered us not to dive into the pool. Not to dive. Okay, it's function as a yellow. What kinds of mistakes most students would make? There's some situation that you have to be aware. Let's take a look. A reported question is not an actual question. Actually, it's a statement. So, we don't have a question mark at the end. Instead, a statement ended with a full stop. My teacher asked when I could come. Alright, and also, we use a that clause with a modal verb should to report orders. For example, our swimming instructor told us that we shouldn't dive into the pool. Very nice. That's all for this chapter. Like our videos and subscribe our channel. See you next time. Goodbye.